Year two. Listen, man, sometimes you start something or you take a leap of faith, you go all in on something and it just doesn't work out, dude. It's absolutely soul crushing. It makes you feel like a fraud, makes you feel like you don't have, what it takes, right? Like last year, I leaned in, dude. I went full time on fantasy football on this YouTube channel. I thought, this would be kind of the year where I could really grow. I ended up quitting my job for it, bro. Like, if you guys want to know more about that, maybe we'll do it in the next episode. But quit my job, went full time essentially. I live in Germany, so in Germany you get like really good unemployment benefits. Not to go too far into it, we'll maybe talk about it in another video. Like, I quit my job so that I can do unemployment and get pretty good income and go all in on fantasy. It was like a leap of faith. I'm like, bro, I want to grow this. This is my chance. I'm about to have a baby. This is when I can really grow, and then I'll find another job, come November, December when fantasy's kind of toning down. It didn't work out, bro. I got absolutely body bagged, dude. Only 1,000 subscribers. And that's doing it pretty much full time. Now, I wasn't doing social media. I wasn't doing Twitter. I wasn't doing all the extra stuff you got to do. I work in marketing. It's business marketing. It's business to business, product marketing. But I know how to market. And I wasn't doing any of it, dude. I wasn't doing any of the seeding. I wasn't, sharing on Reddit, joining communities, interacting with other creators. I was fucking just relying on YouTube and hoping that the algorithm would pick up my videos, push them to more people. And I was hoping that just like the quality of the content getting better would be enough. Like, I don't know if you guys can go back to my channel like 2-3 years ago when I was doing it kind of just as like a side hobby. It's slow. It's bad. There's a lot of filler words. I didn't have good delivery. I feel like I've gotten so much better at making content today, but I don't know, man. I just feel like I've lost some authenticity to the content. Like, there's a lot more cuts and it's a lot more clean and packaged. And I'm worried about, time and bounce rates and stuff. And, I'm stuck in the analytics, dude. I'm lost in the sauce and the analytics sauce. And kind of where are we at right now, dude? What's the goals for this little channel? So I'm employed again. It's a much more chill job, a much more relaxed job that I have, which is perfect. Now I can like kind of do both, plus having a child, having a baby. So, we're at 2250 subscribers. I made a draft guide. I have like a custom fantasy app. I can show it to you guys. I basically made this app from scratch with AI, dude. Like, it took me, hundreds of euros or dollars, whatever the fuck, of credits to create it, where I have like a player database with all the players, my rankings, advanced stats. I created like a draft guide section where I can, automatically update it with league winners, rankings, sleepers, all that kind of stuff, dude. It took me a while. The whole offseason, I was essentially creating this fantasy app with import stuff, video plans. It's like my app to help me with YouTube, right? Because, I need to save time, having a kid now, having a job, wanting to try to do this full time as well on the side. Like, I needed AI to help me. Now, I'm not using AI for my videos, obviously, like scripts or anything like that, but I'm using it for research, right? Like, I'm pumping all the data into this. And I have like these features. I think these are super cool. It's like compare features where I can compare players and present them in the videos. I have like an actual tier maker where I can like create tier lists and populate them with players, and like, really cool features that should really, really, really help my productivity. And I think to any other creators who, want to create videos full time, like, I really do think AI is absolutely insane now. Now you can use AI for content itself and to actually like write scripts and stuff, or even create like actual videos with AI. But I think as a productivity tool, that's kind of how I like to do it. I like to make my videos as raw as possible and kind of, be myself as much as I can. But I noticed I really wasn't, man. I noticed like humor is kind of how I love to present, fantasy football. Like, at the end of the day, I'm not an expert. My job is to entertain. The goal is to entertain. At the end of the day, I think people want to watch fantasy football creators or content in general that is like either super informative and absolutely valuable where they can make money from it, like stock tips or, I don't know, crypto advice, or they're entertained, right? Or they're persuaded. I don't know. It's like 3 different reasons people watch content, right? Entertainment was something that I really wanted to lean in. I felt like I could bring kind of like a little bit more raunchy humor and a little bit more personability to fantasy football. Like, I hate being talked down to from fantasy creators. I didn't want to do that in my content. I felt like I started to, but the goal's moving forward, man. 2250 subscribers. My goal, hopefully, is to try to hit 5K subs in this year. It's going to be a tough thing. I only had 1,000 last year, so I basically have to like double my growth. But just talking about motivation, man, like during the season, you make content, you're getting subscribers, you're getting views, and it feels so great, dude. But then like when videos don't work, maybe you try a new video idea, or you do a video that everybody's doing, right? Like running back rankings, for example. Nobody watches it. You get no views, no subs. You lose all motivation, dude. It's legitimately like a bipolar thing to create content, to try to become a content creator. It sounds cringe even saying it, but with how competitive fantasy football is on top of it, I just think like you kind of have to get lucky, man. When I look at people like Nick, BDGE, or Ron Stewart, they're kind of doing it before this massive wave, right? Like I feel like there's been a big wave of fantasy football creators, including myself, who kind of joined after like the chess pieces were already set, right? The table was set. Like respect to those guys. They grinded. They have great content. They're absolutely like some of my favorite creators. But, you know, I feel like it was still kind of a blue ocean where there's a lot of opportunity, a lot of niches you can kind of fill. And I feel like a lot of those niches have been filled, right? Like Nick, for example, he's got the lifestyle plus like fantasy content. He used to brand himself early on as like, I'm a combination of barstool sports and fantasy footballers. I think I tend to agree with that. Maybe not so much now, but, and then Ron Stewart, he's kind of more of that like a community driven guy, right? He started on kind of creating this really niche, small community of people, you know, 1,000 true fans, whatever you want to call it. And they really like exploded, and they just did it early, right? So I'm inspired by these guys. You know, I go back to their early videos to see what worked for them, how they're able to grow. And, you know, there's some learnings that I've pulled from it. I don't know. You guys probably don't give a fuck about any of this anymore. But yeah, man, the goal is to try to hit 5K subs, dude. It'd be like a dream of mine. I mean, maybe get a sponsor at some point so that there's actually some revenue coming. And if anybody is interested, man, in terms of earnings, dude, just to give you guys a little bit of a snapshot of how much you can maybe earn. So I made a video earlier in this off season. It got 3,000 views. I made $28 from that. Right, that was like my best video in the off season. I haven't made too many videos, to be fair, but like going back to during the season, like, you know, this video had 4,600 views, and I made $48 from it. So it's actually like pretty decent money, right? Like you can actually like make half a day's work if a video pops off during the season. So if you can figure out a nice little formula, that's only with 5,000 likes or 5,000 views, right? So if you can get into like the 20,000 view range, like you can actually do really well, man. Like YouTube, this is just baseline. This is just kind of the money that you can earn just from the content on YouTube, right? Like it's basically passive income. I mean, it's not passive, obviously. You have to actually make the videos. It takes a lot of work, but that doesn't take into account sponsors, ads, because that's where you make most of your money, right? Maybe like a draft guide, like direct to consumer type of products, which, you know, I do have a draft guide. If you do want to support, man, head over to the Patreon. And, you know, if you subscribe, the draft guide is automatically updated every single week. But yeah, man, this is kind of just a snapshot of how much money you can earn. Like most videos is going to be like less than $20. Some of them will get higher than that. Overall, I made about $1,000 from YouTube. And that's like from like the peak months, right? From like August to December of making videos. So definitely not something that can replace a full-time income, not even close, but that's kind of not the goal. The goal is really to just grow at the moment and not like push hella products on people. I just have basically a Patreon subscription where if you subscribe, you get the draft guide, and then you can, you know, unsubscribe as soon as the season starts, or you can continue and get, you know, premium stuff during the season. But yeah, man, I just wanted to make this video to kind of share the journey. Just kind of share with you guys how it's going, kind of what the goals are. So, you know, if you guys do want to follow along, subscribe. You know, if you don't give a shit about the fantasy football stuff and you just want to see kind of the journey stuff, I'm going to do my best to make these videos weekly. If there's interest in them, if nobody really gives a fuck, I'll probably stop. But thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate it if you are still here, and I'll catch you guys in future videos. Peace.